Well, thank you so much for staying with us. And thank you again to Bull Country Compost and Hayseed Hank for sponsoring our show. Hopefully, Tim will be able to be on our show with us very shortly, and we can have a discussion about Bull Country Compost and Hayseed Hank and all of the many, many benefits of both of those products. So before the break, we were talking about weeding the garden, and I sort of got sidetracked there with how we should be doing a little bit every day. But back to Lauren's question that blossom end rot, you want to make sure that the plant is getting enough calcium. So fertilization on a regular basis in a container about every 3 weeks, in the ground about every 4 to 5 weeks. And then unless you're fertilizing with Hypernex, and Hypernex is a fertilizer, it's like a once a year slow release. And so in the ground, you can do it a few days after you've planted and then not do it again. In your containers, I'm still going to recommend doing it twice throughout the season. But if you are a tomato tone or a tomato blast person, about every 4 to 5 weeks in the ground, every 3 weeks in the container, until you start to get fruit formation. If you are on determinate tomatoes, if you're indeterminate, I would keep on fertilizing because you'll keep feeding that plant, and you'll be able to have fruit for the long haul, especially if you're in a container. Do every 3 weeks, pull the container in as fall gets here, and you'll be able to have tomatoes until Christmas time. The next question that we had was about the different types of lilies. And we talked last week about lilies, if you have them in a container and how to trim them off and all of those kind of things. But as your Asiatic lilies, and this is back to that one that Sarah had in her pot last week, if you are Asiatic lilies, and everybody's having this right now, they're all starting to finish up blooming, and they're not as attractive, you still need to leave that green there. The flower has fallen off, but you don't want to cut that plant off yet. So make sure that you're not getting too impatient. And you leave that green to feed that bulb so that you will have a beautiful plant next year on your plant. Hopefully next week you have another perennial blooming, and next year your lily will continue to be blooming for you beautifully. So we have had several people also asking this past week about pruning their shrubbery. And they want to know if it's okay to prune right now. Well, it's not going to kill your plants to prune right now, but who in the world wants to be out at 95 degrees pruning your shrubs? So it's going to be really stressful on you, and it's probably not the ideal time for your plant either, but it isn't going to kill your shrubs. So if you decide right now, okay, this is when I want, for some reason, to trim my rhododendrons, it is the right time frame. That 6 to 8 weeks after they're done blooming, this is the right time to do it. But really, I probably wouldn't be trimming them when it's in the upper 80s and above. Wait till it's a cooler day. It's going to be much easier on you. Now, if you have in a storm, something blows over and breaks a limb off, then by all means, yes, you can go ahead and trim those even if it's 95 degrees. It's not going to kill the plant. And that's what had happened. Someone had plants that were in pots in the storm, which some people got on Tuesday night. Other people didn't get anything. It was really odd. Alliance area got like 2¼ inches of rain and heavy winds. Corn and fields were pushed over, and at our greenhouse and in Canton, we got less than 1/4 inch. So it was all over the place that afternoon. But we, if you have that situation where something blows over and a limb gets broke, yes, by all means, go ahead and trim those off. You can trim off, in most cases by this time, your daffodils have been feeding that bulb, and you can go ahead and trim those off right now. But the rest of your things, it's probably going to be best that you'll find if you don't do a lot of trimming right now. tiny little things, yes, but it's really not good for you to be out and working in these conditions. And so it's probably not best for your plant either. Just wait till it cools off a little bit and everything will fare. Now, the next question that we had was about transplanting. And we talk about transplanting, I feel like all the time. And every week somebody is asking me about transplanting. So transplanting and planting is two totally different things. So if you come out to your local garden center and you buy a plant and you pull it out of the pot and disturb the root system slightly and plant that, that is not in any way transplanting. That is just planting. And you can do that right now as long as you are going to be on top of watering. It doesn't have to, be any temperature outside. It's going to be hot. I would recommend watering, again, this new plant that you are planting in the ground in the morning when the ground is cooler and you water it with cool water. It is going to be much better on the plant. So if you're leaving on vacation, you don't want to be planting something. But if you're going to be home, you can plant. Transplanting, on the other hand, is digging something up that has a root system established in the ground. You are going to be doing major root disturbing when you dig it up or when you split it and move it or move a piece of it to another place. That's transplanting. This is definitely not the time to transplant. If you have to, for some unknown reason, maybe you're moving and you have to do it right now. They're closing. You can't wait. The person buying your house won't let you come back. One of those kind of things, then definitely, you can try to make it work. But that is transplanting, digging something up that has been established, that's been in the ground, I would say 6 months or more, probably a year or more, and digging it up, disturbing root system, and moving it to a different place. That is transplanting. Planting, what I had explained earlier, pulling it out of the pot, putting it in the ground, that is definitely not transplanting. That is just planting, and that can be done at any time. So you want to make sure that you do know the difference. Okay, so next question that we had was about weeds and weed herbicides and how they work. So it was a miscommunication. Someone was in our store. They told someone, and I'm not sure who, she wasn't sure exactly who she spoke with, but that she wanted to kill weeds in her flower beds, but she didn't want them to kill any of the plants. So she said that the person at our store told her Weed Beater FE because it wouldn't kill, because she said that she didn't want it to kill her daylilies. And so the person recommended the Weed Beater FE. But she had grassy weeds in her beds that the Weed Beater did not kill. And she was calling to find out why it didn't work. She bought the product and it didn't work. So we want to make sure that everyone understands the difference between Weed Beater FE and Burnout. Burnout is organic, but it is going to act the same way as a glyphosate product. That is a non-selective herbicide, and that means that it is going to kill anything that is herbaceous, and herbaceous means without woody stems. So anything that only has green and never gets woody, like a daylily or like a hosta or any other perennial that dies off all the way to the ground that never gets woody hard stems. So that's what the Burnout will do, and it would control all of them. The Weed Beater FE, on the other hand, is a herbicide that is only going to kill broadleaf weeds. Broadleaf weeds, which I did not realize that a lot of people do not know what a broadleaf weed is. Broadleaf weeds are weeds that are not grassy, so they don't have that that one little grassy leaf that comes up. And if you remember from biology in high school or maybe even junior high, there's monocots and there's dicots. And the dicots are the broadleaf and the monocots are the grassy ones. So the Weed Beater FE is only going to kill your dicots, your broadleaf weeds, like your dandelions and your plantain, your clover, your ground ivy, those type of weeds in your lawn or anywhere you would spray them, even in your flower beds. That's only going to spray. It will not kill any grassy weeds or any of your good grass. So if you are spraying this in your lawn, it's going to kill the weeds in your lawn, but it will not hurt your grass because it will not kill a monocot. It only is killing the dicots. If you spray it in the flower beds, it's going to work the same. It's not going to kill any grass, be it good grass or a grassy weed like crabgrass or goosegrass. It's not going to kill any of those. So that's where this confusion came in. And we want to make sure that everyone does understand that. So if you are trying to kill all the weeds in your flower beds, but you don't want it to kill any of the plants, you just have to be very diligent on how you're spraying so that you don't hit your daylilies or your hostas or any other perennial that's in your flower beds. Because if you hit it with the burnout, which is going to kill all of them, it's going to kill those as well. So my recommendation is around close to your perennials, you weed it by hand. And if you cannot do that, which in this situation, the customer could not do that, then you want to make sure that you adjust the nozzle on your sprayer to go to a very direct stream, and you only touch those weeds very, very carefully, and then you won't spray it onto the rest of the plants that are the desirable plants that you don't want to die. If you have more specific questions about the use and what they control, the Weed Beater FE or the burnout, and burnout comes in a couple different ways also now. There's a high concentrate and then the one that we have been using for several years. Please come out to the store or give us a call. If you have any questions, please, ask us your questions. You can do it on Facebook at Anthony Petitti Organic Greenhouse on our Facebook page, and you can message us. You can email me your questions at cindypetitti@gmail.com. You can call in with your questions at 330-455-5997, or you can come out to the store and bring us your questions. We'll have a product there. We can actually show you how to trim, all those kind of things. We can help you out, and you can do that at the store at 5828 Columbus Road, right there on the corner of Columbus Road and Broadway. Don't forget, we have changed our hours. Monday through Friday still remain the same at 8 to 6, Saturdays 8 to 4, but we are closed on Sundays now. Please stop out and see us, and have a blessed week.